Hi everyone, welcome, and this is a disclaimer that I am putting at the beginning of my video. This video is about making labels and using your printer to print on fabric. I am not saying that this is okay to do. You must do this at your own risk. I do not take responsibility if you do this yourself. I have tried it with my printer and it has worked. I have an HP inkjet printer, so do what you will with that. But my disclaimer is I am not advising you to do this. In this video, I am just showing you what I have done. On to the video. Hey everyone. Welcome back to my crazy crafting life. So today I decided that I was going to make my own labels to put on my work. I'm sorry for any shadows or bad lighting. I am in my basement. So these are the labels I made. This is 100% cotton fabric. This is the sheet that I got that 100% cotton fabric from. Now, this is what I used. I used this freezer paper. As you can see, it's shiny on one side and it's plain paper on the other. So this is a waxed paper and it says used for arts and crafts. So that's what I used, my ironing board. Now, please don't judge my basement, and I'm moving around. I also used my cutting mat, my rotary cutter, and my ruler. I'm also going to be using, excuse me, some heat bond. I have all kinds of it sitting here. And you want the lightest, probably, that you can get, because I just want this fabric not to fray. So those are the supplies, plus some paper cutting scissors. I did not use the pen, and my fabric scissors. So here's what I did. I took the sheet and I pulled a big strip of fabric off of it, cut into the edges, and I ripped it big enough to fit a sheet of this, very long. I think I probably had it, let's see, 11, I probably had maybe 36 inches of it. I ironed this onto that strip of fabric. And I made this extra long because width-wise, the width of this paper, I could get two 8.5-inch strips out of it, plus a little extra. Lengthwise, I made it long enough so I could get three 11-inch sizes out of it. So that's 33, so it had to be about 36 because the edges of the paper and the edges of the fabric were a little not straight. So what I did was I ironed that on. I cut the fabric down so that it was just maybe an inch or two around the edge of this paper. And then I went to my cutting board. So what I did was I ended up with one, I don't even know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I ended up with 6 sheets. On my computer, I went into the Word program. I have a Microsoft computer. So I went into Word program and I just printed out. I made 3 columns in the Word program. I typed out MJ Matagross handmade with a heart, because you know hearts are my thing. And then I went ahead and I made sure it's very, let me set this aside, it's extremely important to make sure when your edges that your edges are very straight, that the edges of the paper are securely ironed onto the fabric. If they're not, your printer is going to jam. And you have to know if your printer goes in with the side you want to print on facing up or facing down. In my printer, it's an HP printer. I have to do it facing down. So I made sure, like, there are some teeny tiny threads up here. I just took my sewing scissors and just made sure those threads were not there. And you have to make sure there's no big long strings here. I used a sticky roller to make sure there were no strings or hairs or anything sticking to this fabric before I put it in the printer. I put it in face down. I told my printer to print, and luckily all of the sheets came out. There's one, this one has a little bit of ink up here, and I think the corner might have been folded or something, or the fabric caught. See, this fabric is not ironed down tightly to this corner. You can really mess up your printer that way. Luckily, the rest of the sheet came out okay. So I did that, and now I'm getting ready to sew the heat and bond onto the back of this fabric. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and this just peels off. But I'm hoping that the heat and bond keeps the fabric from fraying, and I'll be able to hand sew my labels onto the items I'm making. Because right now I'm embroidering it, and it's just it's a lot of letters. Okay, as you can see, I have ironed on 2 sheets. This is the heat and bond, this is the back of it. Now I would not recommend putting the heat and bond on and then sending it through your printer. I just wouldn't. So I have put it on, and I have ironed it from the back side. I'm gonna gently iron it from this side, and that should help set the ink a little bit too. So I'm going to get the next piece, and I will show you what I did. So I cut it to 11 inches this way, and make it behave. What I did was I just peeled off carefully, because I still don't want a bunch of unraveling here. So I'm going to make sure that this is face down. I'm going to get my next piece. And I'm going to place it right up against the first piece, and try not to have any spaces, but no overlapping either. I hope you can see that. Let me zoom in a little bit. See, they're very close together. Okay, back out. And then I'm going to take the heat and bond, and that's the shiny, bumpy side, is the side that you put down. And I do this way so that I don't get any gunk on my iron. Okay, no steam. Although my iron sounds like it's making steam. It's not supposed to be. And as long as you're getting covered and adhered, the pieces that have the print on them, then that's what you need to be concerned about. You have to be patient. You want to make sure that sticky stuff on the heat and bond adheres. I don't want any fraying of the edges when I'm cutting it out and sewing it on. And this will give the fabric a little body. And yes, it's sticking to my ironing board. Okay, and then very carefully, without touching those edges that are sticky here, I'm just going to run my iron carefully. Okay, so I have my sticky roller that I used at the printer, and I have, this is 2 sheets of the labels. In other words, 1 of the sheets of the heat and bond that I showed when I was ironing them on. And what I did was I cut them in strips of 3. More light, please. Oh, look at that. Much better. Strips of 3. And so what I will do when I need them is I will cut them down to size, and then I will stitch them on. I'll just peel this backing off, and I will stitch them on. I have, hold that thought. I have this type of box. I bought a set of, sorry for the noise. I bought a case with 12 of these in it. So I'm going to be keeping my bigger beads in some of these, but in one of them I will be putting these strips in. And I see that I will have to cut these strips down. Well, yeah, I'll have to cut them down to get them in there, but that's okay. I'm hoping in there they won't get bounced around. They won't have anything else hitting them. They won't get dirty, and I'll be able to hand stitch them on. I did not center them very well when I was cutting them on some of them. This one you can see. Move that out of the way. Oops. I think. So this one, the letters are very close to the bottom. I don't know how that's going to work as I'm sewing them on. We'll see. I don't know. But I do label the back of my work. Everybody should. And I'm hoping that those will easily go on. What I've been doing is stitching stitching on there. I didn't even put handmade. I put MJ Manigros and the year. This one I spelled my name out. Took me forever. So these labels will come in very handy. They'll be smaller, they'll be more professional looking, and that's what I'm going for. So there you go. I will give that a shot, and I'll give you an update and let you know how that happened, how that works for me and what happens. And so I hope this was helpful. So this is my disclaimer that if you do this and it messes up your printer, don't blame me. It will be your choice to do what you want to do with your printer. I'm just showing you what I am doing with mine. I hope you all have a great day, and thanks for joining me if you stuck it out. Have a good one. Happy crafting. See you in the next one. Bye.